So Rob, congratulations. I know you had a big milestone, 30 years married just last month. So I know that we ended up with his and hers watches. You let me help you out with those. But tell me about that journey. You know, a year ago was the first time you'd bought a watch in close to a decade, maybe. Mm-hmm. And now here we are with a new hobby that we've turned into a YouTube channel, and a lot of time spent talking about watches. So tell me about that journey, and more so how you convinced Jen to come along for the ride.
So a year ago, out of the clear blue sky, I got looking into watch repair videos, and that led into just watch videos on YouTube. And the hunt was for something for my youngest son to learn, as like getting a hobby behind him, or to maybe learn a trait, maybe one day becoming a watch repair person just as kind of a side job. That's what kind of started it. Then I started following some YouTube channels and came across a couple more, and then I got the itch. So my whole life as a kid and teenager and blah, 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 loved watches. Then I kind of got out of them, I think like a lot of people did for a while. And last year decided I really missed a Breitling that I used to own. I no longer had the watch. It's probably, I gave it away. So it's, I gift watches, and I gave this to a family member at the time. And actually, I think I reached out to them and said, hey, you want to sell that watch? And of course they didn't. And they love rubbing it in my face that they have the watch that I enjoyed. But at any rate, so went into Reed's, which, is a hometown company, even though they have locations all over. That's just always kind of where we went. If you're in Wilmington, you're looking for a high-end watch, that's where you go. And so we went in, knew I was leaning heavily towards a Breitling, and picked one up, right? That was kind of what started it. And then the itch became a full body itch all over. It wasn't just like a little scratch.
It just turned into leprosy.
It turned into I got watch leprosy. And then, it just started going down the rabbit hole, and I really, really liked them. So I'll answer this question. One, I am extremely blessed to have been married for 30 years. I don't take that for granted. It is by far my single biggest accomplishment in life, is that I have somehow hoodwinkled my lovely bride for 30 years to stay with me, and we have built a wonderful life together, and I'm very blessed over that. So how did I get her on board with watches? So I no matter what hobby I've ever been in, whether it be collecting like you see around here, and we're sitting in a warehouse full of these types of artifacts, and we have some storage units full. But before that, go back a couple of decades, I tell everyone, if you really want to do a hobby that your wife is not going to like, I have it figured out. And this is good advice for all men. So we're going to ask that all women cut just go watch something else for a few moments and then come back on. One of my very first hobbies in my early 20s was I decided to go into business with a dear friend at the time and start a reptile company. And so when your wife doesn't like animals at all, my wife doesn't even like a cat or a dog, we had about 600 reptiles. And so that went over like a lead balloon. And from then on, any other hobby that I wanted to get into was always, held up against the reptiles. Well, honey, I can start breeding reptiles again. No. Go ahead and, collect whatever, right? And so this last year, ironically, it came up in conversation. And one day, Jennifer had an inner thought that kind of came out. And of course, I grabbed it and used it against her like any good husband would. And she said, I don't care how many watches you buy. What? I didn't even hear the rest of it. Then a few minutes later, it clicked with me what she said. If you'll stop collecting the very large signs and the gas pumps and all of that, because we can keep all of the watch boxes in a very small, closet, have less storage units and warehouses. So that's kind of how it all went into it. Both of my sons are really into watches. My daughter is not at all. I bought her one watch, and if I'm not mistaken, she's not wore it yet. And that's been about a year ago. So that's what started it. And then I love art. I have a massive, massive art collection. I love history. And I just love the idea that we can wear these little pieces of art that holds such technical details that started hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and it really speaks to me. Carolyn, the behind-the-scenes lady that keeps our cameras going and does a lot of our stuff for us to make us look as good as we can look here, Zach, she's into clocks. She's into wall clocks and desk clocks, not so much into watches. But my mind goes back, probably my first memory of a clock or watch at all comes from my mother's mother. My grandmother had a wall-mounted grandfather clock that she always had on chime. And my grandfather was a bishop in the church and a pastor, and my grandmother said it for every hour, and she would say a short little prayer every hour, or she would thank God for something every hour when that little thing chimed. I didn't know that story until much later on. She's probably had already passed when I knew that, when I found that out. And my mom still has that clock, and one day it will get passed to me. But that was probably my first entry level in just time in general, right? Very, very small. Then it got into watches, and then, like I said, now I'm back into it. But I still, to this day, now there's been a couple watches I bought just for the show, just for whatever reason. But most of the watches I buy, I first look at, do I like it? I second look at, later on in life, who can I pass this on to? Whether it be a cousin, a friend, a son, a relative. And so there's joy in that too. I think these are awesome items that we can enjoy, and maybe we enjoy it the rest of our life. And others maybe we enjoy for 2 or 3 years, and we pass it on and let someone else enjoy it. And that's just my motto, because there was definitely a time in my life where I didn't have money to buy a watch. I mean, keeping a $100 or keeping a $25 Walmart watch on my wrist because I needed it for work was a struggle. So for me to give away a watch, I know what it's like, and I would have loved for someone to have been able to do that for me. So that's kind of the gist of it. The artwork, the history, the craftsmanship, the amazement that from these little pocket watches, to what we wear on our wrist, do what they do, from the 1930s to current amazement, So that's how that's how Jennifer kind of started accepting it, and she knew I liked it. From even when we dated, I always had a watch in early marriage and stuff. And she remembered the Breitling situation, and she knew I really wanted that. So that's when we came and saw you, and then you held a gun to my head, and you made me buy a lot more from Reed's. So that's the short of it.
So just to make sure I got my notes down correctly, the secret to making it 30 years is to get a really bad hobby and then just use
100%.
that as leverage to, okay.
100%.
Well, there we go.
The 30 years is amazing. I was 18 years old when we got married. We had dated for a couple years before that. We were friends before that. We knew each other from childhood. For my close friends, they know that Jennifer's first visual of me, I'm riding a big wheel, at my cousin's house. But we all just knew each other, But yeah, so from 16 years on, I've been with Jennifer.
Nice. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So I know that, as far as the first watch, the decision had been made about yours first, but that one took a little bit of time. But as far as what we got her, it was at the VVIP event that we did with Tudor at the Commodore Club on Wrightsville Beach.
Yep.
And, that was just a really cool moment, I think, to seeing her make the step of picking out her first nice watch. I mean, it was a cool event. We had, ton of really neat watches there. Adam Bossy, the president of Tudor America, was there, of course. I know that we got you got a couple of pictures with him, I believe. But for hers, we ended up with the Tudor 1926 and a 28 mil format and black dial. But what was cool about it was a brown leather strap. And at this point, they're not really making those anymore. This was kind of the last of the Mohicans, if you will.
Right.
And I just thought it was so cool that was what she went for. And I don't know. Do you have anything to add on that watch?
Yeah, I was surprised. I was trying to think, and I could be wrong, but I know that there was at least 4 tables and possibly 5 tables sit out at this event. Each table full of watches. There were some rare ones there. We were actually... we appreciated the offer to go was amazing time. And the watch that I was after was the Blue Flamingo,
Yep.
which is still my second most worn watch, I think. I love that watch. I wear it all the time. And it's an eye catcher. Like you don't have to necessarily be a watch guy. That blue is so unique. You just see people looking at your wrist wondering what it is. So we knew we were getting that, and we were on the fence. I told Jennifer I really wanted to get watches for our 30-year anniversary, and she was 100% fine with me getting one, but she was on the fence about her. And if I'm not mistaken, it was driving to that event that I looked at her and I said, I would really, really like to get you a watch tonight. I really, really would. I said, it would mean a lot to me for you to have that, and later on it can be something that we pass on to our daughter, Kaylee, whether she's a watch person or not. It's still your mama's watch, right? Yep. And so Jennifer didn't say no at that point, and we went to the event. It was amazing. Adam was great. It was just there was a lot of really cool people. The thing I really liked about that event, one, amazing watches. Two, Adam was super, super chill. But we also got an opportunity to meet other collectors. So I really made some friendships, to be honest with you, at that event that I probably will carry right on. And there's even one or two that were there that we're hoping to have as guests at some point here on the show. So it was really cool to watch different people tell their watch stories, right? So we walked outside. There's a balcony, and this is on the intercoastal waterway. So, the water's right there. It's evening time. Beautiful night. When we walk outside, Adam was out there actually, and Melissa, that also works at Reed's, Jennifer went to high school with. So, no, I'm sorry. They went to grade school together. So they were little kids playing together, ironically. So at any rate, she's there, and we're talking, and I'm like, Jennifer, any watch you want, just pick. And so, therefore, she picks one, and I didn't even notice that watch, to be honest with you. I just scanned right over. I was looking at the all-metal watches, and she picks one up. It's got a leather band strap on it, and immediately my mind went to, that watch looks like your mother. And that made my heart explode inside. We lost my mother-in-law 18 years ago, about a month ago, hit the 18 mark. And so Jennifer didn't view it that way, but as soon as I said it, she agreed. She's like, oh, it really does. And so I've told you since then, I think if we went to Tudor and said, listen, I've got to custom make a watch for my wife, I do believe that's the one that it would end up being identical to what she got. I love the smiley face on the bottom. I like the 1926. I like the story behind it. I love Tudor. Every Tudor I have is just amazing watches. We've had zero issues. Adam was great. It was a great event, a great time. And so we both left with Tudors that night, but that wasn't my anniversary watch, but it was one that I cherish. And, both my kids are chomping at the bit for me to get tired of it, but it's going to be a long time before that happens. So that was a great night. It was a good time walking away with that in hand.
So then it came down to yours, and again, we had, been talking about that one for quite a while, and it just worked out to where we were able to do that. And I know, you've been kind of hiding it for, in excess of a month at this point, so I'm sure you're excited to talk about it. So why don't you tell us about what your 30th was?
So it is, it's what's on me right now. So we started looking at Rolexes. At first, I wanted both of us to get a Rolex, and Jennifer was just uncomfortable with it. She was just uncomfortable with, we travel a lot, we go to a lot of big cities, and she was just uncomfortable with the idea of having that level of name recognition on her wrist as she walked different streets. Completely understand that. And she didn't want to overthink it and to worry, oh my goodness, we're in Manhattan, why do I have this on midway through a trip? So I understood. So to me, immediately Tudor was the perfect fit for her. For me, we went into Reed's here in Wilmington, and we went section by section. We went through just almost each and every watch that was on the Rolex catalog. And ironically, we picked about 3 watches that we both liked, and that's very unusual. So my wife and I have very, very, very different taste in almost everything. But we picked 3 watches, and the one that we settled on that we wanted for the 50th and for the 30th anniversary was the Deepsea James Cameron. And there's a lot of odd things that played into that for me. And it was my watch, so I know that is not the most popular Rolex. I know it is not the most sought after. Totally understand all of that. But for me, I like large watches. I wear divers more than I wear anything else. I wanted it to be a Rolex. I wanted it to be a beefy watch. I wear my watches. If I hit wood or I hit something, I hit something. I mean, it's the way it is. I didn't want the watch to fall apart and me to have, a absolute meltdown that I just destroyed a watch. Also, I wear blue or black almost every day. And I'm sure we're showing it in B reel that it starts off blue and it fades down to black on the dial. I wanted something that represented, back to the dive watch, the ocean. I've lived most of my life right off of the Atlantic Ocean, right here, right off Wrightsville Beach, and then the Cape Fear River on the other side of us. So the diving side of that meant a lot. Then it came to the nickname for it, which is the James Cameron. So my wife's maiden name is Cameron. My oldest son's first name is Cameron, and our youngest son's middle name is Cameron. So when we had kids, my father-in-law only had girls, so his name was stopped with him. It couldn't get passed on once they got married, so we made sure that the name was still passed on. So one day, one of my 2 sons will wear this watch, be named Cameron, and that will be the nickname for it. So that was just a small little play, and most people may say, Rob, that's ridiculous, that's crazy. It's my watch. That's a great thing about watches. And back to what we said earlier about art, you asked me earlier today who my favorite artist is, and whoever you say, there's going to be somebody out there that hates their work, right? Oh my goodness, that's horrible work. It's blah, 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 right? And that's one thing I love about watches is it is your watch, right? It's like vehicles. You may hate that I drive a pickup truck. Why in the world would you ever drive a pickup truck? Well, I don't like driving cars. That's the simple answer. So I like that watches can be super, super custom to you. And to me, when I looked at the Rolex catalog, the James Cameron was perfect for my very first Rolex. So that was kind of the journey. And you gave me a call and you said, man, I got some great news. Your watch is in. And I was so happy. I wanted to buy my first, and specifically my 30-year, I wanted to buy it brand new, and I wanted to buy it from an AD. And that's nothing against the gray market. It's nothing against buying used. None of the above. I'm not saying that I won't do that in the future, but I wanted that particular watch to be brand new and from an AD, and I really wanted it to be from Reed's because it being a Wilmington company.
Nice. Well,
So,
we
that's
appreciate your patronage and congratulations.
Yeah.
It is a great watch, and she's got a great one too. I remember as we were setting up the event at Tudor, always I'm keeping an eye out for, what would I want Anna to have, my wife? And that watch was the one that connected with me the most. And I think that was the right one for her too, for sure. I mean, it's just such a cool watch, but congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing. That was cool.
Absolutely.
And just to set the record straight, when I called you, what I said was, Rob, today's the day.
Yes, that's true. That's exactly what he said. Because at first, it took me a second, like, it's like, what are you talking about? Because I'm thinking something over a shooting or something like that. Like, did a camera come in? Did the lighting fall over and it all broke and we got to start over? What is today? And I remember, like, it took me a second. I was at the house when you called. And you're like, no, dude, your watch is here. I'm like,
man.
Oh, okay, great.
Yep.
So that was wonderful. That was wonderful. Thank you. And it has been fun. And, here's the thing. And if you watch YouTube channels, picking timepieces for different events make the watch so much more important to you. It makes the watch so much more important to you. I've got a couple of signs around me right now that hold very little value. But the story behind who I bought it from or where I was at or who allowed me to buy part of their collection is worth so much more than the actual piece. And watches are no different, but way better because I can wear it every day. Can wear it every day. So, Well, thank y'all so much for joining us. Thank you for putting up with my story, and I hope you've got a laugh out of it. And for those that are married, I hope that haven't hit 30 years, I hope you are able to hit that milestone as well. And I would strongly suggest buying a watch to celebrate it. So thank y'all so much. If you liked it, please hit the like button and subscribe. We'll see y'all soon.